5 to 6 division champion. So you're saying what? He won at what? I believe what? 108, was it 112, 115, 118? Or I can't remember which weight classes exactly, but you're saying basically because he's already a 3 division champion, so you're saying what? 122 featherweight. So you're saying he'll win a world title at 130. 130. He's saying 135. You're saying Junto will win 135.
He's got the body to fill out. That's what he's saying.
I don't know. You know, I'm not gonna say 135. That's pretty high
for him.
But I would say I could see him doing something at 130.
So 5-time.
I would say I could see him doing something at 130 because if you look at his countryman Masanori Rikishi, who's fighting for the vacant IBF title against Eduardo Sugar Nunez, Junto is bigger than Masanori Rikishi.
Holy crap!
So I can see it. What it's really gonna come down and boil down to, Matt, is how does Junto transition his style as he moves up? Because no matter how great a fighter is, every fighter has to make an adjustment to their style as they move up in weight. Look at the great fighters of history. Look at Mayweather. You know, look at Sugar Ray Leonard. Look at even Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue, he made some changes. He already to his style. That he boxes a little differently now than he did when he was fighting at 112 and 108 and these kind of weight classes. So I'm looking forward to see how he adapts his style. You know, Matt says Junto beats Bam. That would be a good fight before Inoue. Now look, I just made a whole video about this like a week ago.
And so
everyone keeps saying now look, in a perfect world, I wish we would get Junto versus Bam. But really and truthfully, I don't think we're ever going to see Junto versus Bam. And you may say, BT, why do you say that? The reason I say that is because Junto versus Bam, Junto and Bam are both promoted by the same person.
Right.
And that's Akihiro Honda, a.k.a. Mr. Honda, a.k.a. the head of Tekken Promotions. And he doesn't do or conduct business like promoters do here in the States. He doesn't really like matching his fighters against each other, right?
That's kind of hard to comprehend, though, to be honest.
He'd rather match them against other people because he views all of his fighters like a family. I know it sounds weird because in America it's like Al Hain and Bob Arum. You got a guy in house who's good. Yeah. Another guy in house you make the fight, but it's not like that.
With all the respect in Japanese culture, I'm sure you can't voice your opinion to your promoter.
I'm just talking about Mr. Honda. I'm not saying Japanese culture. I'm not talking about Honda.
I'm saying as far how he is within the boxing situation, like I'm sure if one of the boxers say, "Hey, I want to fight this guy, put me on him with him," Mr. Honda don't want it because the family, in my view, would also be disrespectful.
They kind of already know, like people kind of already know how Tekken does things. So like, look, listen, I mean, he is one of the most influential promoters on the world level. So clearly, he's done something right to maintain his status in the boxing game, not making any disparaging remarks about him. But I'm just telling you why I think the fight would happen. So if they did fight, I think it'd be a great fight. I think Bam needs a fight like that because Junto is in his prime like Bam. Bam would have to actually get past the long southpaw jab of Junto. And Bam, his ability to angle off and pivot would be really tested in that fight.
It won't be a way.
So would Junto's jab and his ability to fight tall. So I think you're right, man. That'd be a great fight in a perfect world, but I'm just telling you why I think it probably won't happen. Doesn't go ahead to happen. So there's that. Last speaking point about the monster and Junto Nakatani. Listen, Pops, I feel as though my tank voice. Yeah. I feel as though respect to him, but Canelo Alvarez can learn a thing or two from the monster. And people may be saying, like, BT, what do you mean? What could Canelo learn from the monster? Well, look, man, Canelo hasn't wanted to fight David Benavidez for years. He hasn't, because he wants to always maintain his status as the face of Mexican boxing, even at the expense of depriving the boxing world of a fight that they really want to see, right? And he says, I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever I want, right? And listen, it's his prerogative. If he's happy with his decision, then God bless him. But the monster moves a lot differently, right? Yeah. He could do this. He could probably even more than Canelo do the same thing. Yeah. Sure. He's a rock star out there in Japan. Yeah. And is he doing that? No. He's saying, look, man, okay. In fact, it ain't even Junto calling him. In a way, Monster is calling him out. He told him, he said, look, let's make Japanese boxing even more exciting. Yeah. And let's fight each other at the Tokyo Dome next year. Yeah. You know?
He put it to
so it's just different. Like, I feel like there's a lot, not just Canelo. I don't even want to limit it to Canelo, but Canelo came out of my mind because they're both in the same scenario. Canelo is the face of Mexican boxing. I know Benavidez isn't quote unquote a real Mexican, but he's Mexican American, right?
Basically, you.
And if he were to beat a Canelo, he would gain a lot of that fan base for himself. And Canelo don't even want to give him the chance. He'd rather fight William Skull. He'd rather fight. I mean, so I'm not saying this to put down Canelo. I'm actually saying this to kind of lift up the monster because he's not doing that. He has every right to it. He's not doing that.
The difference between the difference between Canelo and the monster, in my opinion, is when it comes to legacy, the monster's fought the spot top of the top. You know what I mean? Maybe that fight when you say with Gonzalez, it should happen, never happened. But he's going for the killer and he goes to the top, so his legacy will stay and people respect it. Well, Canelo, for fighting Skull, fighting Berlanga.
I want to fight Crawford now.
And Crawford. It's not people are going to argue that the Crawford is not a good look, but it's not a good look for him because when he gets older, this Benavidez is going to haunt him in his grave, in his bed, and everything. You guys might not think so, but it will, because in all boxing, that's all you're going to hear. Just don't mention Canelo here because Canelo didn't do this. He did not finish the job that was for him to do. He did not fight Benavidez. That will always be a question. And if he's good with it, fine with it, but don't get mad when somebody comes and tells you something. You get offended because you had an opportunity to do it.
Okay. Well, look, that's all I really wanted to say about that. I don't want to drag that out. I just wanted to say like it's just cool to see like someone that's at that level and he's not like.
You walked up to him.
We see it. Look, we see it so much in American boxing. Like I mentioned it last night's live. Like Bakram ain't nowhere in the same solar system of stardom as a Canelo or Inoue, and he's already big time in Charles Conwell. Yeah, we see it so much in America where guys play the A side, B side. And then here you got a guy who's really a real A side, and he's not acting that way.
No. And so by watching what Inoue did yesterday, he just walked up to the guy and said, "I want you." He said, "I'm coming for you." That's the same way Canelo should act. I'm gonna come for you. Everybody said they want to see that fight. They demand that fight. Well, let's get it on. Let's get this.
Yeah. Shout out to my